Okay, I'll try that then. I'll try.
Lady here, she's a new member, and she says she doesn't mind doing readings. So perhaps offer one of maybe the royal family or whatever.
That would be really great.
Good, yeah. So it'll be
Right.
good to get.
Good.
Whose phone's
That's me.
ring doorbell?
That's
Someone's at your front door.
Yeah, it's the carers. It's mum's carers.
I know, I've only missed it.
I should.
Bless you. Gesundheit. 539. Sorry.
We're now being streamed, so be careful what you say. The whole world.
Good morning, Daniel. I can see his tummy. How are you? You look warm. You're muted. You're muted.
Gosh, are there only, well, it's going up. There's 4 now.
I think we're a bit thin on the ground today. It's too hot.
Well,
Everybody's in the garden. Or
I was going to come in person, but I was too lethargic.
hi, Linda. How's your sound?
Hang on. Yeah, I've changed it back to the other
Yeah.
thingy now. So
Okay.
how does that sound?
Sound great.
Sounds okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
We'll
think
have to
so.
get you doing a reading.
Because this is the other one. I've signed
Right.
it in with the actual number rather than gone onto the link.
Oh,
So
right. Okay. Looks like it's better.
yeah, but I can't do it with the link, but I can sign in with the
Right.
number, that you get.
But then you won't
on
be
here.
host, probably.
We have for what so far?
Don't know if you'd be host if you do it that
Well,
way.
I'm co-host at the moment, so
Yeah.
because it signs me in as Mosaic Liberal.
Yeah.
So you could make me a host on this, but
Might be a bit
because
dangerous.
when I came on, it said, do I want to reclaim host?
Oh, okay.
And I said, or stay as co-host.
Right.
So it's just the initial joining that if I click on the link, it just takes me to the other one,
Okay.
which is very weird. I'm just going to change my name. Hang on.
Yeah, too many Mosaic Liberals.
Ignore my scribbles.
Infamy.
Yeah, so it says I can reclaim the host if I want to.
It's up to you, Linda.
But you might as well stay. It's up to you. You can stay.
I'll do it for now. If you need to take it back,
You can stay host.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. Right, there we go. So does this one sound different to the other one?
A little bit. Yeah, it's clearer. It's a little bit crackly, but I think it's okay. Morning, Brigitte. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Stephen. Oh, hi, Daniel.
Is this? Can you hear
Shabbat
me?
shalom,
I say
Linda.
Hello.
Linda.
We can hear you. You're a little bit faint.
Hang on. Very quietly.
Are you happy with doing the brachot and the translation for Torah?
I think that was a request to you, Linda.
Oh, was that to me?
Yes,
Sorry, what was that again?
Are you happy to do the brachot and the translation for Torah?
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
She should have it because I sent it to her.
Yes. Have you got it there?
I have got it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so we've got Torah. We've got Haftarah. We then have 3 community blessings.
Morning, Aoife. Shabbat shalom.
English.
Eliane, yeah?
And Shabbat shalom to Paul.
I'll show you.
We show you. It's just...
And you don't have to say yes.
Shabbat shalom, Paul.
That is,
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, Eva.
Shabbat shalom, Ifa.
Shabbat shalom.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Queen and country. Shabbat shalom. Is the sound better now? Can you hear me now? I see
Look.
thumbs up.
Still a bit faint.
Still a bit faint?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not normally a quiet one.
No, you're not.
Just get a bit
let's
closer to the
Move
microphone,
a
I
bit
think.
nearer, see if that helps. Oh, yes.
Better.
That moves a bit forward. How's that? Is that any better?
Yes.
I see more ferocious nods now. That's fabulous. Fabulous. Okay, so we have Brigitte. I wonder, would you feel comfortable to read the prayer for healing after the service, the prayer for the community, after the Torah service?
Yeah, the prayer for the community.
Yes, page 484.
Yes, thank you. I will.
And we will pause in the middle, just where it says heal those in anxiety or pain. We'll pause just there to do the prayer for healing, and then you'll finish us after that. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Morning, good morning, Ambra.
Yeah. Yeah, get Eve.
Morning.
I don't think she'd be into it.
Yeah, I'm just okay, yeah.
Ambra,
Yeah.
I wonder if, in honour of your exciting day on Thursday, you might be happy to read the blessing for the State of Israel after the Torah service.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Ambra's going to the Bet Din.
Oh, well done. Oh, wow.
Community.
And you can pick on people as and when, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes, so for everyone else who's not had a reading, don't think you've got away with it. There's plenty more coming up in the service.
shall we start soon?
Yeah. Oh, I don't even know what time. Oh, yes, we're going to finish bang on time. Oh, I did know that already. I'm so we'll see what the time is with sermon anthem and things like that.
That's the one, Daniel. We'll be using that.
I think that's more my problem, isn't it? Okie doke. We are doing service 3, which is on page 117.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
After the service always formally starts.
Come on, let's
go.
go.
So, okay, well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone in the room and everyone on Zoom. Nice to see you. And
Your sound's not great, Joseph.
They can't hear me, says Tom.
Better.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, page 117 for Martavu. Please rise. Martavu. Matavu, Matavu, Alecha Yaakov, Mishkateha Yisrael, Mishkateha Yisrael, Vani Barof Tasdecha, Avovetecha, Eshachave, Eleka Kodshecha, Be'yiratecha, Elechal Kodshecha, Be'yiratecha. Adonai ahavti me'on betecha, U'mekom mishkan kavodecha, V'ani eshachave v'ekra, Evracha lifnei Adonai osi. V'ani tefilati lach Adonai et ratzon רצון את רצון אלוהים ברוב חסדך ענני באמת
Please be seated. We thank you, O God, for this new day, for morning sun and evening star, for flowering of tree and flowing of tide, for life-giving rains and cooling breezes, we hope, the next few days, for changing seasons, for the cycle of growth and decay of life and death. We awake and behold a new day. O God, renew us unto life. Teach us to recognize your presence in creation. Grateful for your gifts, may we dedicate all our powers to your service. And we'll chant together the blessings for the day on page 118. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa li kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten li ayef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir she'ena me'enai utnuma me'afapai. Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam baruchu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechulal b'fi amo mashubach u'mufo'ah b'lishon chasidav va'avadav b'shvachot u'vizmerot negadelecha v'namlichecha malkeinu yachid chei ha'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai melech mechulal b'tishbachot. And I wonder if there's someone on the screen, maybe Aoife, if you could please read for us on page 119 with the coming of day.
With the coming of day and night, I will enter the covenant of God. And when evening and morning depart, I will recite God's decrees. God Most High, you are my righteousness. You teach me goodness. You are the fountain of knowledge, the dwelling place of holiness, and the summit of glory. Eternal might and majesty are yours. I will choose whatever you teach me, gladly accepting your judgments.
And over the page.
As soon as I move my hands and feet, I will praise your name. When I go out and when I come in, when I lie down and when I rise up. When I rest on my bed, I will sing your praise. And in the company of my friends, I will praise you with the words of my mouth.
Thank you.
לשמך עליון, טוב להודות אדוני. לחגי בבוקר חסדך, לחגי בבוקר חסדך. ואמונתך בלילות, ואמונתך בלילות, טוב לך הודות לאדוני. עלי אסוב עלי נבל, עלי הגיון וכינור, כי זמתני אדוני בפור אליך, במעשה ידיך רנן, מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. צדיקה צמה יפרח, כארץ בלבנון יזכה, שתו afrihu odianovon baseva T'shenim garalanim iyu agid ki Adonai suri valo avatabo.
Please stand. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, שיהיה ושפחה, הלל וזמרה, ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוהה בשירי זמרה. Over to page 134. So 135.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach, hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzei or uvorei hoshech, osei shalom uvorei et hakol, hame'er la'aretz v'ledarim aleach, barachamim, uvtuvo machadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit, ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, mal'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, va'al ma'orei or she'asita yefarucha sela, Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzeh Hamorot. And Lindsay, I wonder if you'd read for us, Great is your love. I'll step aside so you can have the mic.
Great is your love for us, eternal God, and abundant your compassion. Our ancestors trusted in you, and you taught them the laws of life. So be gracious to us and teach us. Incline our hearts to hear your words, to know and understand, to learn and teach, and with love to uphold the truths of your Torah. Enlighten us with your teaching. Make us faithful to your commandments, and wholehearted in the love and awe of your name. For in love you summon us to serve you and proclaim your unity. We praise you, O God. In love you have called your people Israel to serve you. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael ba'ahava.
So we reach the Shema in the middle of page 137. I'm often aware or notice that the start of a service sometimes kind of trundles one thing to the next, and there's not really a moment to stop and pause until the end of the Amidah. So in liberal Judaism, even though normally we don't take that moment of quiet for the second paragraph, as the theology of God rewarding and punishing isn't necessarily one that we feel comfortable with, today we are going to take that moment after the first paragraph of the Shema to just sit, to be restful in time. And if we want to read those traditional words on page 539, I believe they are, and see if maybe we can relate to them in a new way as we reach the highest temperatures that our country has seen. So we'll take a moment to really elongate the words of that Shema and bring us into that restful place. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Machuto Leolam Va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשופך ובקומך, ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Feel free to be seated and we'll have a few moments of quiet.
למען תזכרו, ועשיתם
את כל מצוותיי,
והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
אמת ויציב וישר וקיים וטוב ויפה הדבר הזה עלינו לעולם ועד. אמת שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, מלכנו מלך אבותינו, יוצרנו צור ישועתנו, פודנו ומצילנו מעולם הוא שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך. אמת אתה הוא ראשון ואתה הוא אחרון, ומבלעדיך אין לנו מושיע ממצרים. גאלתנו אדוני אלוהינו, ומבית עבדים פדיתנו. משה ומרים ובני ישראל, לך אנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש. תהילות עושה פלא נורא, תהילות עושה פלא. שירה חדשה שבחו גאולים, לשמך שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני לעל ישראל.
Please stand. Safaftai tiftar.
Safaftai tiftar.
Ufiagi tehilateha. Adonai Safaftai tiftar. Ufiagi tehilateha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Koneh Hakol V'Zocheh Hasdei Avot ve'Imaot ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע מגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועצרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדום מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים
נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב על יד נביאך ככתוב על יד נביאך
קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו ברוך כבוד אדוני
ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוק עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לה ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי ציון לטובתו הללויה לטובתו נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש בשפע אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. Maureen, I wonder if you'd read for us at the bottom of page 142, please.
You inspired our ancestors to hallow this day for your service. When upon its coming we pause to contemplate our life, we learn anew that we do not live by bread alone, but also by the spiritual nourishment we receive when we open ourselves to your influence. We thank you for the Sabbath day and for the opportunity it offers to enhance the quality of our lives. We thank you for its joy and for its peace. May our worship help us to take into our hearts its message of holiness and consecrate all our days by devotion to what is true, beautiful, and good.
Thank you.
ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג, המקדשי שביעי, המקדשי שביעי, כולם ישמחו ויתענגו מטובך, והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו, והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו, חמדת ימים אותו קראת, זכר במעשה בראשית.
Eloheinu, our God, let's read together. Our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Eternal One, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath. Baruch atah Adonai Makadesh HaShabbat. Ratzei Adonai Eloheinu bi'amcha Yisrael, utefilatam bi'ahava tekabel, utehi leratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadacha b'yira na'avod.
modim, 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 modim אנחנו לה, modim, 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 modim אנחנו לה, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהינו, אלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד, סוף חיינו, מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור, נודה לך ונספר תהילתך על חיינו המסורים בידיך. מודים, 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 מודים אנחנו לה, מודים, 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 מודים אנחנו לה, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך שבכל עת, ערב ובוקר וצהריים, ברוך אתה אדוני הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות.
Shalom tova uvracha. Chem v'chesed v'rachamim. Chem v'chesed v'rachamim. Shalom tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amecha. Sim Baruch Atah Adonai Oseh Hashalom. We'll have a few moments of silent prayer. Say shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי. We turn now to our Torah service, which can be found on page 481. We'll do...
Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kamasecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor vador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai nimlok le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yavarech et amo v'shalom.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shamo.
Gadlul Adonai iti, uneromama shemo yachdav.
L'cha Adonai ha'gedula v'ha'gvura ha'tifer ha'netzah v'ha'chod v'ha'netzah v'ha'hod ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz. L'cha Adonai ha'mamlecha v'ha'mitnaseh lahol larosh.
So, please be seated. Yes, sorry. Here we go. It's rolled a little bit this way. Yeah, is there a yad for it? Here we go. There isn't a yad. That's okay. I'll use the non-ink end of my pen. But first, I'll tell you about what we're reading. So this week's parasha is named after a religious zealot who's mentioned at the beginning of the parasha. However, his crime, or the incident, depending on how you wish to interpret it, happened at the end of last week's parasha. Pinchas comes across a couple in embrace. The man is an Israelite, the woman is a Midianite. Enraged, possibly by the couples being from different backgrounds, Pinchas launches at them with a spear and kills them both while they are in that embrace. Bizarrely, our parasha begins with Pinchas being rewarded for his actions by God with a covenant of peace. Rashi and Ramban read this blessing literally, concluding that God must have supported Pinchas's actions and therefore blessed him in kind. But luckily, our Talmudic rabbis and other commentators were weary of this story giving a message in favor of religious zealotry, so they try and find other reasons for why Pinchas would have been rewarded for his actions and steer clear of the possibility of other people doing that in the future. After the murder and Pinchas's blessing, there is another census, like we saw at the beginning of Numbers, and then an epic tale of female liberation in a patriarchal society. Two women, known as the daughters of Zelophehad, come to Moses asking if they can receive the inheritance from their late father, as he had no sons. Moses takes the matter to God, who agrees that the law must be changed for all the Israelites, that if a person dies and has no sons, then the daughters will inherit his estate. Of course, the daughters were only known by their father's name, at least in the Torah portion, and there were stipulations to their win, namely that they had to marry within the tribe so that the money wouldn't end up elsewhere. However, I think we can say it's a win nonetheless. With these two epic stories, you might think that that would bring our parasha for a close, but actually the bit we're reading today is this moment when Moses ascends the mountain for God to show him Israel before he dies. You heard me right? Even though we're a couple of weeks away from Deuteronomy and months away from Moses' actual death, a few months, today we'll read God telling Moses to ascend the mountain of Abarim, where he'll see the land which God gave to the Israelites, and be gathered to his kin, which is a euphemism for death. While upon the mountain dying, Moses must appoint a leader, and today we read about how he laid his hands on Joshua to appoint Joshua the next leader in an act that is now used for ordination. Finally, there's still more. The parasha moves away from a narrative and into laws about sacrificial rituals for festivals and occasions. It seems that these stories are disjointed, but the overarching theme could be one of leadership, power, inheritance, and legacy. Pinchas's blessing is afforded to all of his descendants. The census marks out who is descended from whom, and Zelophehad's daughters demand their rightful inheritance, not just for financial gain, but so that their father's legacy is not lost. Moses passes his legacy to Joshua, and even the sacrificial and festival laws could be seen as the inheritance that must be passed on to the Israelite people. We'll turn now to the Torah, and Linda will recite the blessings for us. We'll hear about Joshua's ordination. So Linda, whenever you're ready. Linda, are you there?
Stephen just muted me.
Ah, there we go. It's a cycle.
Do you want me to share the screen as well, or Stephen, are you going to do it? What?
I'll do that, Linda.
I can do it. It's there. Okay.
You want me to do it?
Go ahead.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam
Baruch
va'ed.
Adonai hamavorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. ויאמר אדוני אל משה, עלה אל הר העברים הזה, ורואה את הארץ אשר נתתי לבני ישראל, וראית אותה, ונאספת אל עמך גם אתה, כאשר נאסף אהרון אחיך, כאשר מריתם פי במדבר צין. במרבית העדה להקדשני במים לעיניהם, הם מי מרבית קדש מדבר צין. ודבר משה אל אהרון לאמור, אל אדוני לאמור, יפקוד אדוני אלוהי הרוחות, לכל בשר איש, על העדה אשר יוצא לפניכם ואשר יבוא לפניכם, ואשר יוציאם ואשר יביאם, ולא תהיה עדת אדוני כצאן אשר אין לכם רועה. ויאמר אדוני אל משה, קח לך את יהושע בן נון, איש אשר רוח בו, ושמחת את ידיך אליו, והעמדת אותו לפני אלעזר הכהן, ולפני כל העדה, וציווית אותו לעיניהם. ונתת מחודך עליו, למען ישמעו כל עדת בני ישראל לפני אלעזר הכהן, ויעמוד ושאול לו במשפט האורים לפני אדוני, על פי יצאו ועל פי יביאו, הוא וכל בני ישראל איתו. וכל העדה, ויעש משה כאשר ציווה אדוני אותו. ויקח את יהושע ויעמדהו לפני אלעזר הכהן, ולפני כל העדה, ויסמוך את ידיו אליו, ויצווהו כאשר דבר אדוני ביד משה.
Adonai said to Moses, "Ascend these heights of Abarim and view the land that I have given to the Israelite people. When you have seen it, you too shall be gathered to your kin, just as your brother Aaron was. For in the wilderness of Sin, when the community was contentious, you disobeyed my command to uphold my sanctity in their sight by means of the water. Those are the waters of Meribah Kadesh in the wilderness of Sin." Moses spoke to Adonai, saying, "Let Adonai, source of the breath of all flesh, appoint someone over the community, who shall go out before them and come in before them, and who shall take them out and bring them in, so that Adonai's community may not be like sheep that have no shepherd." And Adonai answered Moses, "Single out Joshua son of Nun, an inspired man, and lay your hand upon him. Have him stand before Eleazar the priest, and before the whole community, and commission him in their sight. Invest him with some of your authority, so that the whole Israelite community may obey. But he shall present himself to Eleazar the priest, who shall on his behalf seek the decision of the Urim before Adonai. By such instruction they shall go out, and by such instruction they shall come in, he and all the Israelite militia and the whole community." Moses did as Adonai commanded him. He took Joshua and had him stand before Eleazar the priest and before the whole community. He laid his hands upon him and commissioned him, as Adonai had spoken through Moses. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Shkoyach. Please stand. Got a strong arm.
Baruch Shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
I invite up Hannah to read our Haftarah, and you'll see many common themes in here. Not only do we get to hear Zelophehad's daughters' names, they get their names, we also hear about what land is passed over to who.
Yes, Rabbi Anna stressed something that I was going to mention, which is that it's pretty rare in the Torah for a woman's name to be mentioned. And the fact that the names of all the daughters of Zelophehad were named just shows how very important this new law that came into being was. So all credit to them. I shall be reading from Joshua chapter 17, verses 1 to 10. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nviim tovim, v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'torah, u'v'moshe avdo, u'v'Yisrael amo, u'v'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek. And this is the portion that fell by lot to the tribe of Manasseh, for he was Joseph's firstborn. Since Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh and the father of Gilead, was a valiant warrior, Gilead and Bashan were assigned to him. And now assignments were made to the remaining Manassites by their clans, the descendants of Abiezer, Helek, Asriel, Shechem, Hefer, and Shemidah. Those were the male descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph, by their clans. Now Zelophehad, son of Hefer, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, had no sons but only daughters. The names of his daughters were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They appeared before the priest Eleazar, Joshua son of Nun, and the chieftains, saying, "The Eternal commanded Moses to grant us a portion among our male kinsmen." So in accordance with the Eternal's instructions, they were granted a portion among their father's kinsmen. 10 districts fell to Manasseh, apart from the lands of Gilead and Bashan, which are across the Jordan. Manasseh's daughters inherited a portion in these together with his sons, while the land of Gilead was assigned to the rest of Manasseh's descendants. The boundary of Manasseh ran from Asher to Michmetat, which lies near Shechem. The boundary continued to the right towards the inhabitants of En Tappuah. The region of Tappuah belonged to Manasseh, but Tappuah on the border of Manasseh belonged to the Ephraimites. Then the boundary descended to the Wadi Kana. Those towns to the south of the Wadi belonged to Ephraim as an enclave among the towns of Manasseh. The boundary of Manasseh lay north of the Wadi and ran onto the sea. What lay to the south belonged to Ephraim, and what lay to the north belonged to Manasseh, with the sea as its boundary. This territory was contiguous with Asher on the north and with Issachar on the east. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'oseh, ha'medaber u'mekayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah v'al ha'avodah v'al ha'nevi'im v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lechavod u'letifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach u'mevarechim otach. Yitbarach shimcha b'fi kol chai tamid leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please stand. Do you want to come on up? We're on the Blessings for the Community on page 484.
Okay. Eternal God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we ask your blessing for our sovereign lady, Queen Elizabeth, and all the royal family, for those who govern our country and all who influence the quality of its national life. Make them conscious of their responsibility and teach them to exercise it in accordance with your will. May we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom and justice, tolerance and compassion, so that it may be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity.
Thank you. Amen. Brigitte.
Eternal God, as you blessed our ancestors in generations past, bless now this congregation, its leaders and its members, and all who enter this synagogue, both physical and virtual, to meet, to study, and to pray. Comfort the sorrowing hearts amongst us, and heal those in anxiety or pain.
We'll take a moment just to look around the room and look around the Zoom and mention the names of those who are unwell at this time, unwell in body or unwell in soul. And particularly I'm thinking of George and Mary and of Harry, who are all not feeling well at this time. If anyone would like to say any names, I'll look first to the room and then I'll look in the Zoom. So in the room.
In this community, Joy Pearson.
Joy Pearson, thank you.
My cousin Nikki.
Nikki.
Our friend Michelle Singer in Reform Synagogue.
Michelle. And I think my friends were both called Lisa. And I look to the Zoom. Go ahead.
I'd like to mention my friend Sarah Lever.
Sarah.
My brother Ashley Hart.
And Ashley, thank you, Paul. And Daniel, did you have your hand up as well?
I'd like to mention my friend Sarah Lever.
Sarah Lever, sorry. I heard. Yes, thank you. ויהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, שתשלח מהרה רפואה שלמה, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף לכל החולים בתוך שעה החולים. Baruch atah Adonai, רופא החולים. May it be your will, eternal one, our God and God of our ancestors, speedily to grant a perfect healing of body and mind to all who are sick. We praise you, O God, the source of healing. Brigitte.
May we all find here community and friendship, renewal of purpose and hope, a deeper understanding of our heritage, and a sense of your abiding presence. Bless all congregations of the House of Israel throughout the world. Let those who live under oppressive rule soon be freed, and may we all unite to witness your truth and to do your will.
Amen.
Amen.
Ambra, if you're there.
Eternal God, our rock and redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fulfill an age-old dream and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement the prophetic ideals of liberty and justice. May they live in harmony with one another and in peace with their neighbors, and cause to come true once more the ancient vision that out of Zion shall go forth the Torah and the word of God from Jerusalem.
Amen. And as I'm aware of Shalom Bayit and wanting to be together with the rest of the communities for Kiddush, we're going to turn to page 489 and return the scroll to the Ark. Ki lekach tov natati lachem, torati al ta'azovu.
Hayim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomechecha meusha Torahecha taheino l'chol netivoteha shalom hashivenu
be seated. As many of you know, I've just spent the last month visiting communities and meeting with rabbis and other community leaders in the US. The idea of the trip was to learn from and be inspired by different models of community that have been created out there to answer one of the questions that we're trying to answer with the Mosaic Project. How do we engage unaffiliated Jews, and indeed our members who are there on paper but not in the room? The want to bring these individuals in is not for a belief that anyone gets any mitzvah points for doing so, or a sense that people need to be religious or practicing. The mission comes from an understanding that there are Jews who want community, who want togetherness, and some who want to connect spiritually, even if that doesn't mean with God, but who have at best not found a community that is good for them, or at worst, have something about them that has made them feel othered or outside of mainstream community life in the past. On my travels, I prayed in communities that have in different ways tried to break down the traditional understanding of what community might mean, be that in the language they use, the liturgy they pray with, the people who are welcomed in, the activities they put on outside of ritual, or the way they empower their members to step up to their roles in the community. I met with community organisers who have worked in huge justice campaigns. Their success came from building a community around a cause and individual conversations where they learned about what makes people tick, so that together they could work on something they all believed in. As I told everyone I met with, my trip was to learn and be inspired, and was not going to be about a copy and paste over to Mosaic, because we have our own unique context. I found when meeting these inspirational leaders that I could divide them, to be somewhat simplistic, into two categories: the charismatic center and the facilitator. I must stress that there is no value judgment put on either of these. Each type of leader did impressive and important work, and their communities served a purpose and were places of belonging for all who went to them. But their styles did get me thinking. The words of one rabbi I met have stuck with me. When asked about his journey and the creation of the synagogue, he said in a non-arrogant, self-aware way, "I am the brand." I asked him, "If you are the brand, what happens when you leave?" Again, he replied honestly, "I'm not too sure. It's been 16 years and I haven't had a sabbatical. I'm exhausted." He spoke of the possibility of a future successor, but was reflective that if when he leaves, the community doesn't continue, maybe it's run its course. This incredible rabbi, whose vision, passion, knowledge, skills, and leadership had created a community that before COVID would have 400 people praying together on a Friday night, was unsure if there was an inspired individual, an ish asher ruach bo, an individual with spirit in them, able to continue the work once he moves on. On the polar opposite side of the spectrum, I attended a Saturday night Tish and Havdalah, where roughly 30 people gathered together in a park, taught each other Jewish music, sang together, and when 3 stars were spotted in the sky, prayed Havdalah together, without a rabbi or a cantor in sight, but as a synagogue event. When I met with the rabbi of this community a few days after, he told me about how he built the community by approaching people in his networks, sharing his vision in an elevator pitch, and asking them what their vision was, and if they'd like to build it with him together, and who else should they bring on board. From there, the community grew into a place where a large portion of the community felt the responsibility of leadership and were empowered to take on roles in many different ways. The book of Numbers is about establishing leadership structures amongst the Israelites before they enter the promised land. And this week, we see the beginning of the process of the handing over of the leadership from Moses to Joshua. We read today that upon hearing about his death, Moses said to God, Let Adonai, source of the breath of all flesh, appoint someone over the community who shall go out before them and come in before them, and who shall take them out and bring them in, so that God's community may not be like a sheep that has no shepherd. Our commentators see this request as one where we can learn what is wanted from a good leader. Rashi reads this to mean, God should appoint a leader who will go with the people into battle, not send them in and sit apart like a king. What's more, according to Rashi, this leader will not just send them in and go in with them, but will bring them back safely. The Midrash sees this differently. In this parasha that focuses on inheritance, Midrash Bamidbar Rabbah tells us that after the ruling of the daughters of Zelophehad, Moses said to God that it would be proper for his sons to inherit his glory. God replied to him the words of Proverbs 27:18, "The one who tends a fig tree will enjoy its fruit. Your sons sat with their own concerns and were not involved with Torah study, whereas Joshua served you much and showed you much honor. And he got up early to your house of meeting and left late. He arranged the benches and spread out the mats." Might sound familiar. "He served you with all of his ability. He is worthy to serve Israel, so as not to lose his compensation. Take Joshua, son of Nun, in order to fulfill what is stated in that proverb, 'He who tends a fig tree will enjoy its fruit.'" In this midrash, Joshua earns the right to leadership because of his participation in the community and his knowledge of Torah. But God's response to Moses, of course, brings more questions than answers about what was perceived to be a good leader. And Adonai answered Moses, "Single out Joshua, son of Nun, an inspired man, and lay your hand upon him." An inspired man, Ish asher ruach bo. What does this mean? According to Rashi, it means a person who's able to deal with the character of each individual. Midrash Tanhuma elaborates on this idea, connecting the words asher ruach bo with Moses' description of God that we just heard, haruach lechol basar ish, that common thread of ruach, source of breath of all flesh. It reads, "The God of the spirits of all flesh. Since you know each and every one should be appointed who knows how to proceed with each and every one of them according to his temperament." In other words, Joshua knows the people so well that he knows how to work with each and every one according to who they are. This community is blessed with so many leaders. I'm not talking about the rabbis, but the lay leaders and other professionals who keep everything going and hold us all up. And many of you who are here and those of you who are not, have been giving of yourselves to this community for so many years that I know some of you could relate to Moses' cries in Numbers 11:11, "Why have you dealt ill with your servant, and why have I not enjoyed your favor, that you have laid the burden of all these people upon me?" We as a community are now standing on the edge of our promised land, with the keys to our shul on the hill nearly within reach. With that comes an incredible opportunity to decide how we lead. How those of you who are inspired individuals because of the knowledge you have of this community and the people in it, that means you can guide each of us according to our temperament. And how do we use that inspiration to empower more and more people to take on small leadership roles and feel active ownership in the community, while relieving the burden for those of you who wish to take a step back? It may be that Moses and Joshua's leadership styles were more akin to the rabbi who didn't know what would become of his community should he leave. But maybe that's why this story of leadership transition is swiftly followed by laws about festivals, the manual for the Israelites on how to celebrate moments in time together, laws not given just to Moses or just to Joshua, but for all the people. On my travels around communities, it was such an inspiration to see those synagogues where the duty of leadership, be it in a welcoming role twice a year or leading one of the community's groups, was felt by the majority of members, each who had committed to the vision of the community and wanted to be part of building it together. As we enter into our promised land, may we all feel empowered to build our vision together, giving space to all who want to join us according to their own temperament. And please God, in doing so, allow the community to thrive, develop and evolve long past any of us. And I think we'll turn, let me check. Yeah, we'll turn to our concluding prayers on page 520. Please stand. Oh, anything's fine. Do you want to?
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לאחד את שמו, וגור עלינו לחמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, משב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אינו, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו. ידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחתינו.
Bottom of page 521.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
The growing good of this world is partly dependent on unhistoric acts, and that things are not so ill with you and me as they might have been is half owing to the number who lived faithfully a hidden life and rest in unvisited tombs. Even when they are gone, the departed are with us. They inspire us to live as, in their higher moments, they themselves sought to live. We remember them now, they remain in our hearts, and they are a continual blessing. As a community, we remember Golda Hunt, mother of Alan Hunt, Gertrude Levine, mother of Ronald Levine, Renee Rose, mother of Stuart Rose, Isaac and Simone Zidell, the grandparents of Bridget Levine. And I'll look around the room and then look to the Zoom. If anyone's thinking of someone at this time, please do say their name.
Sandy Amber, who passed away this week.
Thank you, Sandy Amber.
There were shivers for another community, but we're actually hosting a shiver Sunday on Zoom. I think the announcement has gone out, but if anyone wants to know the details for tomorrow.
Thank you. And I look to the Zoom if anyone's thinking of someone.
It's not her Yorkshire, but my late wife, Rosalind.
Rosalind, thank you, Paul. So may their memories be for an eternal blessing. We'll say the words of the Kaddish together with those who mourn. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba, b'yalma divrach erutei v'yamlich machutei, b'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayed ochol Beit Yisrael, b'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabba mavarach leolam ulalmei almaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'a v'yitnuman v'yitnaseh. V'yithada v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dukasha b'richu. La'ela minko b'chata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, diameran b'yama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'asei shalom, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל בני אדם ואמרו Amen. Please be seated. Kevin, our announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm glad I don't have to rush this. We've got a few minutes. We have to finish by 12:15 because we're joining the Mazorti downstairs. I'm sure, Stephen, you'll have a Kiddush as well on Zoom because we won't be with you. But thank you, Anna, for, again, a wonderful service. And I think the theme of the Sermon of Leadership really resonated with me. And I'm sort of thinking of our model, which is similar to some of the models you described. I think it's like shared leadership, power sharing. We'll work together. It's not a case of I'm in charge. This is what we do. We discuss things. I delegate, and it works really well. So it's really good to sort of put it all into context. So thank you, Anna. Also, thank you again, Joseph. I know it was hard work carrying your keyboard on the streets of Hatch End because of these problems of traffic, but thank you, it was well worth it. And again, Tom, behind the scenes, he's unseen, unheard, but he does really valuable work just to make sure this happens on Zoom. And it's different venues as well. It's not always easy, so thank you, Tom. And also Stephen and Linda for hosting the Zoom. Without you, I'd probably be at home, and I'd much prefer being here. So that's, I can see a few claps. So I don't think there's anything to share, is there? Because I think there's a bit of a break with the activities.
Yeah, the next thing coming up, Kevin, is not till August, which is on the 25th, the Mosaic Walking Tour of Pinner.
Pinner, yeah, which will be good. And so that's, and Gwendolyn will be leading the service next week on Zoom, which should be a cantorial service, and Adele for Joseph as well.
Just to wish Brigitte and Ron long life.
Yes, we do, Brigitte and Ron. Wish you long life. I wanted to say, grab the opportunity. You know what chairmen are like; they always want to put themselves forward. But this is not about me. I want to say welcome back to Rabbi Anna, who's been away for a long time. We've missed you, even though you have had a Zoom presence with us. But what I wanted to say is we can see already that your time in America was really well spent, and we and the whole of the NJC are going to reap the benefits of that. Thank you so much. It's really, we see it coming through already, so amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's conclude with...
Do we have time?
Yeah, let's do a cheeky song and we'll head down.
We'll do it on a lum. I always do this tune at least once in the season, and it feels up to date. So we'll do. It's not too long. Adon Olam, Hashem Olam, B'Terem Kol Yatzin Nivra. לעת נשא בחץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי כגלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו, להגבירה, בלי ראשית, בלי תגלית. ולא העוז והמזרח והוא אלי והגולי וצוהב לי בעת צרה והוא נשיא ומנוס לי בנת כוסי ביום אקרא, בידו אבקיד רוחי, בעת אישה והגירה, ועם רוחי
Shalom.
There are a few.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Let's head downstairs. Are they ready for us?
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Oh, they're not waiting for us.
So would you like to do a concluding prayer?
Yeah, let's do a concluding prayer. Yeah, why not? Just close. Okay, that's good. They're nearly there. So I think just because, of course, Moses asked for a leader who would go in with the people and out with the people, out with the people and in with the people. He said it twice. It was the hokey cokey. We'll say, Baruch atah b'voecha uvaruch atah b'tzeitecha. Adonai yishmot tzeitecha uvoecha me'atah v'ad olam. Blessed may you be when you come in, and blessed may you be when you go out. May the Eternal One guard your going out and your coming in now and always. Shabbat Shalom.
Lovely.
Very good. Thank you.
I'm sure by the time we actually get downstairs, there'll be
Yeah.
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom to everybody on Zoom. It's so lovely to see you all.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Rashid and Ron, I wish you long life. It's Maureen.
Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Kiddush, everybody on Zoom. Going to mute the mute hatch end, and then we could do Kiddush. No, there we go. If you get your, anybody got any stuff? V'shamru b'nei Yisrael.
It's Hashabbat.
L'Torah Berit Olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael. Motu le'olam. Sheshet yamim asa Adonai. Et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Uvayom hashvi. Shabbat vayinafash. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei b'rim token. Amen. Chaim.
L'chaim.
I'm only on water.
That's okay. That's probably the right thing today. Does anyone have a challah that they would like to do hamotzi, or shall I do it?
I can produce some matzo, but I'm afraid that's about the height of it.
Okay, I'll stick with my challah then. Baruch atah Adonai Amen. Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Stay cool.
Have a good week, everybody.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Hi, Rania. How are you?
I'm fine. And you? Good?
We missed you earlier, but you kind of sneaked in towards the end.
Yes, yeah, I was lost in time. I get confused with the time today for some reason.
Is it hot in Paris as well at the moment? Because
it's around 30 degrees.
Okay, yeah, it's going to go here. It's going to go up to close to 40 on Monday.
Oh,
we have a real heat.
So drink plenty of water.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm in a dance show tomorrow, so I'm really looking forward to that.
So are you on your new connection now, Linda, or your old one?
No, I'm on my new, but I don't know what it's like because the sound that I've been getting has been good. And you're obviously having a huge delay in hearing me. So I don't know what's it like.
Better than the old one, but it's still not perfect. I think it's still.
Sorry?
It's better than the old one, but it's not perfect still. There's still sort of bits that are slow and gaps. So, don't know. But it's definitely, at least it's not.
See, that's what. That's that's what the sound was like from everybody that was like from where they were and from when everyone was speaking on here. It was like that I was receiving.
Right.
So it was really weird. But
oh well, hopefully sometime it'll. Let's try it. Give it another week. See if it gets. It may be better next week. Sometimes it's just.
Yes.
Well, next week I won't. Next week I won't be here because we've got our service next week.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
Have we got it next week? No, we haven't. No, we haven't next week. We've had it. No, sorry. That's I'm thinking of August. Yeah, no, I will be there next week.
Right. If that's all new, that's Gwendolyn. I think Gwendolyn's doing it. So.
Yes, that would be good to see her again.
Okay. I will wish everyone farewell. Hope you're all right, Daniel. Enjoy.
Okay then. Shabbat.
The heat of Preston Road.